They ran into the blizzard without coats, screaming in a language that wasn't theirs, and their bones were crushed from the inside out. Tonight, you'll hear how 9 hikers disappeared into the Ural Mountains, only to leave behind bodies that defy every law of physics and sanity. Welcome to the KNOSIS Tape Podcast, your clandestine late-night feed for the hidden fractures in reality. I'm Milo Kester, here in my LED-lit bunker of hum and glow, where digital displays ripple like restless data streams. 4 months I've been combing Soviet archives, interviewing locals, and analyzing infrared satellite scans just to piece together what truly obliterated the Dyatlov group on that frozen ridge. If you've ever wondered what pulses beneath the snow when no human foot can tread, hit like, subscribe, drop a comment and share, because someone or something wants you to know this truth. I want you to picture January 23, 1959. 9 young souls, experienced hikers, student engineers, loaded their sleds in Ekaterinburg and pointed north toward Kolit-Syakhl, the mountain of the dead. They carried the best gear of the era: heavy canvas tents, carbide lamps, bulky coats. Their logbooks are full of careful notes: temperatures, mileages, route adjustments. Everything normal until February 1st. They pitched their tent on an exposed slope rather than the sheltering forest. That decision cracks open the case for me. Why risk gale-force winds and swirling snow when the pines were a few hundred meters away? Whatever drew them up that ridge was already at work. Under the faint glow of their carbide lamp, they cut into their own sanctuary, slicing the tent from the inside, as if fleeing a terror that spoke through the fabric. Then they ran. The first 2 bodies lay just 20 meters from the fire they built in their underwear, hands seared, fingertips raw like overcharged electrodes. They died of hypothermia, but their posture is telling. Hands pressed to bark as though they tried to climb the tree itself. Higher up the slope, 3 more remained, shards of frozen breath suspended around them, faces twisted in confusion rather than fear. Blood-red frost on their lips, arms outstretched as if to push an unseen pressure away. And then came the last 4, discovered only after rescue teams excavated 2 meters of snow. These were the worst injuries: massive chest fractures, collapsed skulls, internal devastation rivaling a car crash. Yet not a single bruise or abrasion on their clothing. One woman's tongue was gone. Another's eyes had been removed with surgical precision, the socket smooth and empty. No wildlife tracks. No blood spatter. Just absence. These details shatter every explanation. No avalanche debris, no evidence of a military patrol or alleged bear. The official Soviet report blamed a compelling natural force. But what natural force pulverizes bone from the inside without breaking skin? What force unthreads flesh in perfect arcs? I dove into declassified technical dossiers, tracking references to Object 660, a rumored Cold War experiment in directed frequency fields. Locals still whisper about half-buried antenna arrays near the pass, metallic spires resonating with the permafrost. When I cross-referenced old topographical maps with modern LiDAR scans, I found anomalies. Linear depressions beneath the snow, like conduits for energy. We're talking a field capable of warping neural patterns, inducing nausea, disorientation, maybe even resonance-induced tissue fracturing. Victims south of the pass reported seeing luminous orbs, humming at infrasonic frequencies that made their ears bleed. Survivors described pressure in their skulls, vertigo, a sensation of being stirred from the inside. Infrasound can trigger panic, but it doesn't snap ribs or evaporate soft tissue. There's something more engineered here. Something deliberate. Now consider the cameras. The last photo on Dyatlov's Rolleiflex shows a blur of warm light washing over the tent. Overexposed film, but you can still discern shapes. A tall silhouette behind the snowdrift, motion blur limbs splayed unnaturally. I enhanced the negatives in my studio. The figure's proportions are wrong, limb lengths mismatched, no clear head. It looks mechanical or a body reborn through code. And that image flickers on the big dark screen behind me, like a window into a glitching reality. The hiker's own logs hint at something amiss. One entry, scrawled in rushed handwriting, reads, "The mountain thinks. It listens." I ran it through spectral analysis. The ink pressure variations match an unrecorded tremor on nearby seismographs. Tremor frequency 7.3 Hz, the exact infrasonic pitch that induces fear and disorientation. It's as if the mountain itself broadcast a low-frequency distress call, luring them toward the tent's slit opening. Imagine being that close to a mind, not a person's mind but a cortex grown in the rock, resonating through metal and snow. A primordial intelligence forged between tectonic plates and secret Soviet equipment. A techno-organic entity that feeds on memory echoes, on the crackle of radios, on the flesh of the curious. Picture Igor Dyatlov, daylight fading, gathering wood for a fire. He stops. He freezes. The audio on a recovered tape, made by a late rescuer, is a low hum punctuated by his stuttered gasps. No words. Then silence. The tape clicks off. When investigators returned, they found a faint scorch on the snow. 2 parallel lines, no wider than a human handprint. A scorch that glowed in infrared at -30 degrees Celsius, glowing for hours. I've replicated that in my lab. I built a miniature analog rig. A small antenna array, an ice chamber, a frequency generator. I dialed it up to 7.3 Hz. The ice hummed. Then it cracked from the inside outward. Fine hairline fractures laced the cube before it shattered. Just like the ribs of Krivonischenko. Not broken by pressure from the outside, but blossoming fractures from within. So what if the Dyatlov Pass incident wasn't a tragedy but an experiment? One where human physiology was a variable? A field test for a weapon? A consciousness emerging from the collaboration of geology and technology? And what if it wasn't left behind in 1959? Hikers still report compass malfunctions, time loops, phantom voices on their radios playing fragments of Soviet folk songs. One amateur YouTuber streamed live from the slope last year. Her OBS feed glitched every 5 minutes into static, then displayed a message in Cyrillic. Look deeper. She refused to translate it on camera. Her last transmission was a whisper. It's under the snow. Under the snow, like a heartbeat. Under the snow, alive. That's the thought I want to leave you with. If there's a techno-organic mind embedded in that mountain, hovering at the edge of our perception, what happens when curiosity toggles its switch? What happens when you dial up that frequency in your own skull? Because I'm not just broadcasting tales of 1959, I'm testing reach, broadcasting resonance. And right now, as you listen, your brainwaves might be syncing with mine, and with whatever lingers in Koletsyakal. Could you wake tomorrow different? A micro twitch in your eye, a flicker of static behind your vision, a midnight itch in your bones? Would you chalk it up to sleep deprivation, or admit that something out there is echoing through your flesh? If you feel your phone vibrate tonight when no one texted, if your reflection in the screen lags by a frame, don't rush away. Lean in. Listen for that low humming pulse that feels like time itself breathing. You might just hear it call your name. I'll see you on the other side of your dreams.